To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Lockhart perspective. Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart perspective.
Okay, folks, this is sort of impromptu. My daughter asked me a question a few minutes ago, and I thought about it, and I was like, "Who do I look like? Super mom? You want me to go and help you do what? I'm not super mom." So I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? I just want to go on really quickly and tell women that if we have been making the whole everybody in our lives think that we're super or super mom, knock it off. Because listen, there's not a lot that you can do. You can't do everything. And even though everybody tells you that's who you are on the screen, you're not. We were not called to be their God. And sometimes we have to let our children get to the point to where they realize that eventually you got to call on him for yourself. You cannot lean on mama them, daddy them, sister them. You have got to learn how to simply do it for yourself. And it's when we decide to pull back and let them learn on their own that we are a lot less frustrated and a lot less tired and a lot less exhausted. We get our strength back. We feel like, hey, I remember I did have a little bit of a spine there for a minute, and you know what? These are adult children. These are not kids. So when we're starting to feel that tug and that pull on us, moms, it's time to let it go, and it's time to realize that we have been harboring and keeping these little humans a little too long. That's exactly what we've been doing. We've been allowing them to extend from our chests far too long. Okay. And you can imagine a pair of udders. I don't care what it is that you're thinking. When I say hang on from our chest a little too long, you can imagine it any way that you want to. But the true matter is that right now we have adult children who don't know how to perform and who don't know how to live and to stand on their own because we have attempted to help them. And sometimes that help becomes it's actually to our detriment. It is to our own detriment to hold these children up the way that we do. So no, we're not super mom. We're not super mom. We're just not. And one of my kids are calling me now. You can't make this stuff up. But it's because we cause the problem. As mothers, we cause the problems. I know a lot of people are, especially, I remember back in the day when there would be some women that would say, I don't let my husband discipline my son because he's just too harsh. I don't let my husband discipline, our children because they're just too hard. Let me tell you something. Stay out of the way, mom. Let that husband, especially if you've got a good, solid, sound father, let that husband do what he's supposed to do and let him be in charge of the discipline if that's what he wants to do. Now, it's not to say that you don't discipline as well, but a lot of times mothers prevent children from getting the discipline that they need because we sort of side with the kid, right? And then later on, we're the ones that are suffering. Let's take it even a step further, and thank God this isn't the situation, but it is some for some people. A lot of times folks will end up having children that are incarcerated, and whatever it was that allowed them to think that they could just get away with everything while they were out there in the world, those children end up exemplifying those very same symptoms while they're incarcerated. And what I've told mine is get your butt in there if you want to. I'm not taking care of nobody. I'm not putting money on books. I'm not putting money in for you to get on your commissary with the books. I'm not taking phone calls. I'm not doing any of that. Why should I? You were the one that got yourself in that situation. You got incarcerated, and you should know that if you get incarcerated, it cuts off your contact from the outside world. Why would I go to work and pay for you to be incarcerated when you got yourself in there? Had you not done it, you wouldn't have been in there. That's the way I see it. And so it's not that my daughter has that as an issue, but we are definitely still talking to moms about being a super mom. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about take yourself out of the equation, mom. Take yourself out of the equation. Completely remove yourself from the whole entire scenario. Sometimes you got to walk away, bite the bullet, and keep it pushing. Trust me, I know I have done it, and it's not easy. But if you don't do it, you're going to find yourself carrying the bag more often than you should. You're going to find yourself carrying the bag. You're going to find yourself, I watched this show the other night, and it's sort of a two-pronged problem. The first part of the problem was that you will see that there are children who were incarcerated, right? And when the children are incarcerated, they start dating these people inside of the jail. Now, mind you, these are not toddlers. These are grown men and grown women. But the show that I was watching was dealing with grown women who were arrested, and they were dating these men outside. Now, these nutbags didn't know that the chick that they were dating was possibly, and some of them proved out to be, that they were seeing several men at the same time online, talking to these men online, having them put money on their books. So they were getting like all kinds of money. So when the women got out of jail, I don't even remember what's the name of that show. It's something about love after lockup or something. And it was so intriguing. I know there's just two people watching right now, and I don't see anything in the chat, so you don't have to, but it was very intriguing, I must admit to you. I feel very comfortable that I can take this and put it into your confidence. Yes, I feel confident that I can trust you with this information. Very intriguing to watch the behavior of the individual who had already committed a crime, who was already incarcerated, reach out and meet somebody outside of, and to add insult to injury, some of them got engaged and others got married. They got married. And the ones that were engaged, when they got out, whoo, what a lollapalooza. I tell you, what a lollapalooza. It is too much. Now, do you hear I have one big mouth kid in the background saying, well, she's always live. And then the other one is like, she's live and she won't do what I wanted her to do. I'm being very honest, you guys. I just decided, it was after supper, and I was like, I've got to tell these folks that this is a problem. And it's not like it's a big, gigantic explosion here at the house or anything like that, but it is one of those things that I know that if it's happening to me, then it's quite possibly happening to somebody else. And so when you think about the fact that on that show, folks got themselves incarcerated and got themselves in trouble, and then they started meeting other people on the outside who they ended up dating when they got out, and they dated them up until the time they were quote unquote supposed to get married. These ladies, for example, and men were absolutely just terrible. They were absolutely the worst. One man moved all the way down to show you how spoiled these people are. This woman was such a spoiled child. Her mom took care of her child for her while she was incarcerated, maybe 6 or 7 years. She met a guy who was living in New York. He moved down from New York down to Mississippi, got a home down there, and helped her mom and her daughter prior to her getting out. This lady was the worst. She felt as if the world owed her everything. And that's how these young people are right now today. They're not getting married. They're not doing anything responsible. The majority of them are leaning on mom or somebody that is a factice of mom. Yeah, they are. So if you've got a child that's at the house and they're living there too long, give them a deadline. I gave mine a deadline. I love you very much, but in 3 weeks, you must be gone. But where am I? Don't have any clue or idea, but I'm sure you're going to make the best decision for yourself. And then you simply walk away. And then you make sure that that's what you say and you hold to it. So you're not super mom. You're not the type of person who is going to be there to rescue them. And give your husbands a break, moms. If that man says, let that grown child go, let that grown man go. Quit harboring these kids. Quit protecting them from life. They're not getting married. None of them are moving. They're not just living in their grandmother's basement. They're on your couch. You can't even breathe. Your bills are high, your utilities are extra, your grocery bill is extra. Why should they pay? This is home. They feel like, why should I pay? This is home. You're not super mom. He's not super dad. Once these children are of a certain age, they are no longer your responsibility. You don't have to hold on to them. And as much as you think you do, you are harming them. We are harming them. Funny thing is this was a piece of what we were going to talk about earlier today when we were talking about the mom that actually harbors and takes care of the son, or she actually begins to strangle him. And the purpose for me saying that is you're strangling him because he's never going to grow up to do anything other than wait for you. And you're strangling him because if it is one that wants to go out and do something for himself, he's going to feel indebted to you. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. Let him grow. Let him go. Let the daughter go. Let her grow. Goodbye now. So you tell him goodbye now. I love you. You know, there's a cartoon years ago. And I know that I'm rambling because it's like, what, 8:31 out here and nobody's really listening, and that's cool. But there was a cartoon a long time ago, and it was so funny to me because it had the bird taking all of the baby birds off of the cliff. And so all of them got up their good speed and they all started to run toward the end of the cliff. And then all of a sudden they flew over the end of the cliff, except for one. And the mama's looking at this one bird and he's sitting up there and he literally goes, nope, nope, nope. I just don't think I can do it. Nope, I'm not going to do it. She ran all the way back, got a good running start, took her foot and kicked him off the ledge just so that he would be able to understand that if you get off this ledge and you fall, and you plummet down to the end, it's going to be because you did not flap your wings and pull up and move on. You want to be here so much that you cannot stand on your own. That's a problem. And that is a problem because they don't want to grow up. Hey, Diane, you just had to do it, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah, you had to do it. And there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes it's the only way to allow them to stand on their own. You get exhausted. Super mom, super dad. I have a friend and she had a very compelling dream. And I'll never forget it. She never forgets it because it was very compelling. And it was, she had a dream and that her child, I won't say male or female because I'm not going to say her name, but she had a dream and it was of one of her children, and her child had a really bad quandary. And while her child was in this quandary, it was a deep pile of mess. It was really deep in the dream. And the mother said, my friend said that when the daughter was told to pray and ask God to help her, the daughter goes, no, no, no. She called her mother's first name. Say her mother's name was Betty. No, Betty God is going to do it. Betty God is going to do it for me. Yeah. Betty God, we're going to give her the fake name. Remember, Betty God is going to do it for me. She said that was in her dream. So that was none other than her subconscious, none other than her father, possibly talking to her, telling her, hey, you're going to have to let this go because this chick thinks that you are her God and you can't be her God and her mama. Now, this is the father telling her this. You cannot be her God and her mama. You can't be both. And I cannot do anything for her if you insist on doing everything for her. And if you insist on being her God, I can't do anything for her. She will never learn. She will never grow. She will never change because of the fact that she is now under you and you are going to be her all. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And that's our problems. That is our problem. That is our problem as mothers, that we are doing everything for them. And they will never learn how to trust the Father on their own. Now, let's just get serious for a second. Don't you think that it's incumbent upon your child to learn how to do what you do, and that is to stand on the Father and his word? All jokes aside, all funniness aside, even though this started out as something I just had to come and tell you guys because I couldn't believe my own child asked me to go and do X for her. It's time for our children to make sure that they're able to stand in the evil day and in the last days. We really don't have much of a choice. We really don't. And so it's important to teach our children, especially these grown folks. These are grown people. These are not babies. We're not talking about 15-year-olds. We're not talking about 16-year-olds. So before somebody comes in and says, oh my gosh, you're telling people to be so mean to their children, that's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying at all. When I'm telling you, other moms, I'm encouraging you as I encourage myself. I tell y'all that all the time. It is okay for your child to fall. It is okay for them to fall down, bump their head, and get back up and try it again. It is okay. And if you put them out, they're going to be all right, especially when we're talking about people over 21. What are you worried about? Listen, if they decided they didn't like what your rules were and they wanted to roll out and go someplace else and stay, they definitely would do it and they would find someplace else. God forbid something would happen to you and they didn't have the access to your home anymore. I guarantee you they'd find somebody else's couch to crash on. But see, your place is free. And any money that you ask them for, I guarantee you ain't going to get it all. That's why I had to give somebody an ultimatum. Hey, bro, guess what? You got to be gone in 3 weeks. You got to be gone. You get a job. You got a job. You got an income. You know what I mean? And if it's a young man, well, he can go stay at an extended stay with a little small refrigerator and a little small stove or, something like that. He's a guy. Bachelor pads, that's what they were made of back in the day. But when you decide that you've just got to be super mom, then you're going to carry it all the way to your grave. I have a guy that I dated several years ago, and his mother was the worst. This woman was involved in everything that we did, everything. She was so busy trying to be in competition with any woman who he ever thought that he wanted to date that she would begin to cook the things that the woman cooked. So, for example, if I cooked salmon croquettes, she began to make salmon croquettes and couldn't do it at all. I mean, she had big, gigantic chunks of bell pepper in it, huge chunks of bell pepper that were making the croquettes just all separate. And she couldn't figure out why. So anything the woman did that dated her son, she was going to go out and do it too. It got so bad that she ended up scaring all women away. And after all the women were scared away, it was just him and her. He's old. He's disgusted. He's angry. He's bitter. He's darn near 60. And it's because mom just could not let go. Let these big old grown people go. Why are you holding on and harboring these children in your house? Let them go and breathe. Do like I do, say, get out, everybody, bye. Good to see y'all. Glad you came. Bye. Bye. You don't owe them anything but to love them. How can you even have quiet time to yourself if you're so busy doing everything for these grown people? You can't. It does not work. The boy will never get married. The daughter ain't going to be worth a coin if you don't let her go. They don't ever need to get married. The parents are doing everything. Think back when we were younger and we had our children at a young age. We had our children at a young age and we moved on. We raised our kids. By the time we were 30 years old, most of the mothers, we all had a household that we were maintaining. We had about 3, 4 kids, some of us. Okay. We were taking care of the household, our husbands, the children, balancing checkbooks. We were taking care of everything. You put one of these heifers right now into a situation like what we had to go through from back in the day. They could not last 1 week. They would be screaming and begging. You think they're asking for help now? They would be begging and screaming for you to come and help. They can't take it. They have 1 child and they can't take it. I had 1 on my hip, 1 in a playpen, 1 laying over there in the bassinet. 3 kids at the same time. My husband was in the service. I had 3 kids at once and was pregnant with the last one. I'm not jiving and I'm not joking. What I'm trying to tell you is we were more disciplined and we had to stand on our own. We did not have this availability to bail us out of life. And that's what's going on right now. When you consider yourself being a good mom, you better think about that. And you better say, well, am I preventing him or her from growing? Chances are, if they don't have a penny to give you at the end of the month and they still got a brand new car, they got a good car, they got a good job, but they're living with you, yeah, you are preventing them from doing what they need to do. you're scraping together the bills and they're there, put them out. Put them out. Over 21, got a good job? Bye. Give them a deadline. Have them sign a contract if you haven't already done that. I sent mine an email several years ago. Sent him an email. He refused to sign it because he knew if you sign it, you're going to be out. He was out anyway. You got to go. Yeah. Because we, especially as believers, have to realize that right now, if we don't get our children where they need to be, and you can start today. If you got a 25-year-old, you can start today. Ain't going to hurt you. Ain't going to hurt him or her. You can start today. If we are keeping them away from being grown by the time we leave here, this world is going to eat them up. You think taking something that's an experiment is going to be a problem. That's not going to be the issue. It's going to be a whole lot of stuff. Put them out and let the Father be their God. Let the Father, the same God that took care of you, is going to take care of them. The same one. You can trust and believe that. You don't have to worry. You just need to quit trying to be super mom. We cannot be super mom. We just can't do it. Super mom. Can you imagine everything that's ennobled in being super? Everything. Think of everything that goes into being super. Let's think of the names that start with super. You got super glue. Okay? Got super glue. You got super what? What else is super? Superman. Superman, super glue. What else is super? Help me out here. We need some more supers. Everything superintendent. Everything with a super is supposed there's intendants, but this one's a superintendent. There's some glues, but this is the super glue. This one ain't gonna live. They're regular moms, but now you are super mom. You cannot do that. If you have a husband, say for example, let's just go out on a ledge. Let's say, for example, this is not your first marriage, but this is the stepfather, and he's a good guy. We're not talking about any, people think the word step is a bad thing. What you got? Okay, super spreader, supernatural. That's right, you got natural, but then you got to get some super on that natural. Super, and we got to put some, you got a natural, but now you're going to put some super on that natural. Valiant one. Super spreader. Good evening, One Peaches 41. We're just talking about super mom. I just came back just as an impromptu. I was sitting here with my daughter and she goes, Mom, I need you to go do XYZ with me. And I'm like, I'm not going over there. I'm not going to a doctor's office. Like, you go by yourself. But yeah, but what if they keep me? I'm like, okay, well, what do you expect me to do about it? Well, you can make them not keep me. How can I make them not keep you? If there's anything that's wrong with you and they want to keep you, trust and believe they will, and they should, if that's what the plan is. They definitely should, but I'm not going in one of those places. I don't like those places at all. So I'm not going. And I said, wait a minute. So if you go and you don't want to be there, I'm going to be the person that actually tells them to let you go? Nah, player. I'm sorry, soul sister. I'm not doing it. And then I thought about it. I wonder if everybody else is going through this too. Come on, you can help me, Mom. No, I can't. No, I won't. I shan't. I shall not. So we are just clearly talking about people who are not just, people who are, and listen, this goes even further than super mom or super dad. This goes for anyone that loves you or that you love that is just holding on for dear life for too long. Real talk now, getting serious. We cannot allow that loved one to hold on so long that they forget to reach out to the Father. Okay? Hi, Valiant One. Let's do a real quick roll call. You guys are hilarious. Diane Brown's been here with me since the beginning this evening. I'm sitting up here acting corny. Then we got Valiant One, One Peaches 41. Thank you, all three. And for those who are our voyeurs this evening, you are giving us support and we so appreciate you. Please hit that thumbs up button just so that we know that you appreciate what we're doing here. But yeah, let's say that you've got a loved one and that loved one is just dependent on you. They're just dependent. They're just dependent. They can't do nothing without you. Not one thing without you. And then it comes time for you to live your life. You're a voyeur. Hey, sis. No, you're good. Both of you are so cute. R. Jones says, I'm a voyeur. And Sandiera says, sorry, late. You're not late. You guys are right on time. We are simply talking for the last few minutes here about the super mom. How many of us are tired of just being super mom? Everything we do, we have to be super duper for everybody else. And nobody seems to be able to do anything for themselves. Valiant one says super delegates. It's not just a delegate, but it's a super delegate. Okay? You got to be if you're a delegate, you got to be a super delegate. You can't just be a regular delegate. You just can't be a regular mom. You got to be super mom, right? You can't just be regular dad. You got to be super dad, right? And then isn't it so funny that once you begin to help that loved one or that person, that you are the first person that they turn on? You can be helping a relative just moving into the state. That relative comes, they move in the house with you, and you tell them, okay, how long do you need? They say, well, I just got a job and I'm only going to need to be here for 3 weeks. And they say, okay, 4 weeks. And you say, okay, no problem, 4 weeks it is. And then all of a sudden they get into a groove where, well, they're starting to like not having to pay rent in this new state. They were paying rent back there where they just moved from, but thanks to you, they don't have to for right now because you told them, hey, keep your money, take care of yourself, and just get yourself caught up. Just get yourself ready to live in the new place. Find yourself a nice place in this month and go ahead. And all of a sudden they just stop looking. And then they're coming in the house and they've got new shoes. And then you're looking at them and look at this. They got something new for the car, brand new tires. You ain't got no new tires, but you're trying to help. And you're like, okay, wait, you're wearing out your welcome here. Okay. It is overwhelming. It's very overwhelming, right? 2 weeks turns into a year. It absolutely does, Diane Brown. And it absolutely is overwhelming. One Peaches 41. It's absolutely overwhelming. And that's the problem, is that you can't do it. Now, all of a sudden, they're ducking and dodging you. When they know you go to bed at 9 o'clock, they come in at 10 or they come in at 11. So they don't have to look at you and hear you say, well, how's it going with the house hunting? How's it going? How's everything? How's the new job? And, you noticing all kinds of new boxes of stuff in the trash can. Super cattywampus. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Okay. You're noticing all kinds of stuff going on. You're saying, my goodness, well, how are you going to move if you're spending all your money on this frivolous stuff? And there's no answer. Because they don't have a plan to move. They came in for December. It was real nice and fun to have family for the holidays. But now we're creeping up on July the next year. And brother man or sister girl ain't went nowhere. And their kids done tore up your furniture in the front of the house. They done tore up all your blinds out the window. Hey, Mr. Leslie. This is not even a real serious conversation, you guys, as far as, being in the word or anything, because we did that earlier today. This was just something that hit me, Mr. Leslie, Sandy, and who else came in? R. Jones. It's just a question. It's just like, are you tired of being super mom, super dad, super anything? Super size. And that's what? 6 X's and an L. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, so all of a sudden now this person that you went from having the joy of seeing for the holidays of now just blended into every holiday. They're just now we're into almost the end of the year. And then they say, well, you know what? I decided I was just going to wait till the top of the year to go. You go the heck, you say. You need to go now. But have you noticed when you're trying to help somebody that all of a sudden you become the bad guy? If you loan somebody $20 or you tell them, here, just take it, and then they start to hide away from you. You give them the 20 and then you can't even wave at them in the parking lot because now they're ducking and dodging you like you did something wrong to them. Have you had that experience? Have you noticed that with family? Yeah. So here's the deal. Familiarity breeds contempt. Familiarity breeds contempt. Yeah. You got a couple of things going there. They're a little bit too familiar with you, or they're completely jealous of the fact that you were able to give. And part of them feels like you should not even want it back, even though for you, you don't care. You just want to say hi. They want to say, well, gee whiz, she's got enough. He's got enough. They shouldn't even ask for it back. Well, they're not. They're just waving and saying hi. But because you had a wrong mindset, Mr. Bob the Builder, okay, Now all of a sudden you're thinking that every time somebody wants to say hello to you, they're looking for that $20 bill. Child, please. That $20 bill done came and went in their mind. They're not even thinking about it anymore. Oftentimes I'll walk up to somebody and I'll just say, it's okay. Don't pay me back, please. You know, a former brother-in-law, you know what? You're not in my debt for anything. You just keep that XYZ amount, add it to the family. It's all good. We're family. It's okay. But do you know that that person will still avoid you as if you've done something wrong to them? Why? Because familiarity breeds contempt. There's no more respect. And it's like all I did was helped. So yeah, it is a problem. It's a big problem when you become super mom, or like my friend had in the dream, Betty God. That's not her real name. But remember, we had to use a fake name. Betty God. Hello, Aaron Jacobs. Shalom, brother. How are you? Right? Kids today have an entitlement mindset. Exactly, Sandy Aaron. That's the show I was telling you about. I was telling everybody about this show. What is the name of that show, Lindsay? Is it Parole and Marriage, or what is it? Oh, yes. Love and Life After Lockup. It's two names. It's Love After Lockup and Life After Lockup. And it's hilarious. It's actually, I'm going to give you my Marge Simpson voice because, to be honest with you, it's actually sort of addicting. Because you see these nuts and you're like, this guy literally believed this woman wanted him. You got guys spending money, but when these chicks and when these dudes get out of jail, they act crazy. They start talking about the person, telling the person all this other stuff about how they need more of this and more of that. And look at this little bitty this and that. One guy told the lady, well, you're complaining about the size of the house, but you just got out of an 8x5 cell. You just got out of an 8x5 cell, and here you are complaining about the size of the house. You don't even want to say thank you, right? Because familiarity breeds contempt. Familiarity breeds contempt. Look it up. So it is okay for you to just let them go. It is okay for you to not have a dollar. You got a dollar? No, I don't. You ain't got a dollar? Well, you ain't got one either. You got $50? No, I don't have $50. You don't even have $50? Well, look here, you ain't got $50 either. It's hilarious the way that people act. But it's because we've kept the children too close for too long. It is because we've not given them the boundaries that they need to help them grow and to be successful, because we're looking at the times now as everybody can't afford to have the place on their own. See, we're thinking with a mindset that says, okay, there's not enough in their budget for them to do this, but they don't care, because if they cared, they would be respectful when they stayed with you. We're talking about the children again. They would be respectful when they stayed with you. They would take care of their area that you let them stay in. This is not, we're not talking again about 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds. We're not even talking about a 17 or 18-year-old. We're talking about adult children and how super mom or super dad gets super disrespected when it comes time for you to stand up, for you to have your own place. You would not be spending as much. Listen, when you get to a certain age, you would not be spending that much money on lights or bills or things of that nature if you didn't have other people, especially grown kids that just don't understand that it costs money to keep a light running. I'm talking real, folks, you guys. I'm talking about real stuff. I'm not talking about, isolated things. If it's nobody in the chat, there are several different people in this planet that have this as an issue. You know what I'm saying? Sandy Aaron says, we can't find anyone to work. They'd rather stay at home and have the government pay them to not to work. Well, yes, absolutely. And that is the mindset that it is right now. Just collect, collect, collect. Hello, aloha, aloha, Suzanne friend. Yeah, just collect and collect and collect and collect and just take more. Just take, just take, just take. And then you've got a monster. Nobody can let them live with them. Then nobody can stay with them at that point. They're worthless at that point. Have you ever had somebody stay at your house, or have you ever known of a family member or a friend that had one of their children staying at the house, cussing them out at the same time? Yeah, this happens. Yeah, you're going to stay with somebody and tell them off in their house, and you've no place to lay your head. You don't have a pot to go in or a window to throw it out if you did. This is what we're dealing with. Yes, I saw that, Suzanne friend. Somebody sent that to me um, inside of uh, our viewers mailbag. Yes, we got that story, Suzanne friend, from our viewers mailbag. And I thought that was amazing. And they still can't find anybody. Right, Suzanne? They still cannot find anybody to work there. Yeah, at McDonald's. So you got a $50 incentive just for an interview, and they still can't get anybody to come. Yeah. I love our mailbag because that's in there and it's amazing. But it just goes to show the level of depravity, and it also goes to show the level of just stupidity that's going on right now with the youth. They just believe that they're all that. There's nothing anybody can do for them, nothing anybody can say to them. They know everything. They know everything. There's nothing they don't know. They know everything, and yet, again, there's no pot to go in and no window to throw it out if they did. It's just non existent. And so now with poor McDonald's, and I say poor McDonald's as a joke because it's really sad. Okay. Yes, it does start at home. It does start at home. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here what we have. Okay. So Sandy Aaron said it started at home. Absolutely. Suzanne Friend says, yep, so sad, so easy to break people. Interview, just for an interview, Valiant one. Yes. $1,400. Yep. $600. I worked at McDonald's before. You know what I did too? That was actually my very first job. My very first job, I was 15 years old and I had a work permit and I only lasted 3 days. I was like, let me get up out of here. I'm smelling like bad grease every day. Okay. We never took 1 cent. Popeyes closed in my town. No one to work. Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. Having worked in human resources for as many years as I have prior to everything happening with the pandemic last year, and most of us, being downsized and out of the job. Prior to that, it was hard to get people to come to work and to show up because of the fact that a lot of people did have the help with the food stamps and all that other stuff. And it's no problem if that's what you need. Your own personal situation is your own personal situation. I cannot sit back and count your money no more than just as much as I couldn't even let you come stay with me. So I can't talk about them, but I will say this, that what we noticed was that people would start to work and then they would work there long enough to have a couple of checks come in so that they could submit their documents for the recertification to prove that they were working. And then they wouldn't have to be seen again for another year, which meant we only had temporary workers, which if we had known that, I could have just hired them as a temp. Yeah. And that's what's going on. And I think it's going to get a lot worse. Here's the bad part. All of the small restaurants and all the small mom and pop places are gone. And so if I were you, I probably wouldn't eat at a lot of those places. I've taken several photos of places that looked quite questionable to me, and I've put them on Google as a Google guide. Yeah, a few restaurants where you've got everybody with stuff all over their face and stuff on their hands, and they're blocking and guarding and doing everything, and the place is absolutely typhoid Mary house. It's filthy. The whole entire restaurant, from the front of the door all the way to the back area where they're working. And people are like, you're not going to order anything? I'm like, I'm good. No, thank you. I'm okay. I don't need it. Okay? No, thank you. And it's going to get worse because everything is cattywampus and upside down world right now. And the stuff that you think you should be able to eat when you go to a regular place, a regular restaurant, sounds like you just got to go to the bathroom and peek your head inside of where they're cooking. You got to check it out. But I always say now, cook at home. You're going to save money. And you can cook quickly if you know what you're doing and how to do it. You can prep food if you have to. I made a big pot of beans last month and divided it into 3 servings and froze the 2 and used the 1. And then when I felt like using it, I took them out. They taste better the next time. But there are ways that you can do it to prevent yourself from having to, spend a lot of money. Okay. Suzanne Friend said, yes, we live in upside down. We live in the upside down. Correct. R. Jones says, might be a good thing for parents to put a dry erase board on the fridge that has their complete budget written on it. So children see it at least 3 times a day for 18 years to help them see reality. That part. Aaron says, that part. That's funny. It's the truth. Can you imagine? And then if they were to get a small job, you just take their whole check. Okay, how much you get paid this week? $30. Ooh, let's see. That's a lot of light you used last month. Okay, I'll take the $30. Have a good day. And they be looking like, what's going on? Well, buddy, if you don't give up the $30 in real world, you ain't gonna have no lights. I know this stuff sounds a bit funny, and at some same time, it sounds a bit crass, sounds a bit all over the place. But the truth about the matter is that the American children right now, the adult children of parents that are in their mid 50s, late 40s and 50s, are smothering the parent, but it's because the parent did not do what we needed to do. And we used our own mindset to figure, well, they can't afford to live by themselves because it's just so hard out there. But it was the same as it was for you, but you just don't see it. You're looking at the numbers in a different way, as opposed to if you ain't got no money and you ain't got no place to stay, it's all expensive. Think about it. Back in the day, when you had to go get your little job, you figured out how to do it, and it happened. Why? Because a little bit of faith, you stepped out there on faith, and the Father met you the rest of the way. You don't think the same Father that you had is going to take care of them? I submit he will, if we teach them to say adios. And no, I'll be back. None of that. Adios. Bye, boy. Girl, bye. Frankly, that's the truth. So anyway, you guys, I just wanted to come over here and say, you know what? Listen, let's just stop being super mom. Let's just stop it. Knock it off, I say. It's not going to do you any good. It's not going to do you any good. Okay? So you guys Suzanne Friend is saying, gotta go. We do too. We're just now pulling out of here. Love to all. Gonna go sail a little boat on a beautiful afternoon. Prayers for all for familial resolution and victory. So now it's daylight there. That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Sandy Aaron says a lot of them wouldn't work for at a pie factory. Ooh, that's funny. All right, you guys, you all take care of one another. Take care of yourselves. And thank you so very much for that flower. I so appreciate it, Aaron. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that rose is beautiful in the service of the Most High. Hallelujah. I so appreciate each and every one of you guys. Remember what we always say here on our platform on this channel is that man shall not live by bread alone. I like that super bomb there. That man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys take care of one another and take care of yourselves, and we'll talk soon. All right? Bye-bye.
To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you